Hi everybody, so this is Kathleen with lesson number 4. Alrighty, so we're always going to start our lessons with our little rotation or progression of our chords of C, A minor, F, G7. We're going to start with some down strums, then we're going to do some 4-count shuffle strums, then we're going to go to some 2-count shuffle strums, always using C, A minor, F, G7. Okay? So here we go, down strums, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just so we get our fingers working, C, A minor, F, G7. Now we're going to switch to our shuffle strums. Let's switch to 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. C, A minor, F, G7. C, A minor, F, G7. Back to 4 shuffles. F, G7, 4 shuffles again, starting with C. Okay, just to get our fingers going, get the brain working. All right, so last week our chords, we had 2 chords last week. The first one we had was D minor. So D minor is a 3-finger chord. Finger number 1, 3rd from the top string, 1st fret. Finger number 2 is the 2nd fret, 2nd finger, and 2nd fret. 2nd finger, 2nd fret, top string, okay? Then we're going to take our 3rd finger, okay? We're going to put it right underneath our 2nd finger. So both those fingers are in the 2nd fret, and they are on the top string and the one just below the top string, okay? So that is your D minor chord. 3 fingers. So if you make an F chord, we all know our F chord, okay? Take that 3rd finger right underneath. Make sure it's in that 2nd fret. Okay, that's your D minor. Not to be confused with your D7, which is also in the 2nd fret. Okay, 2 fingers. One's on the top string. Your 2nd finger is on the 3rd from the top string. And that is your D7 chord. Okay? The other chord that we learned last week was our A chord. And how do we make our A chord? You take your A minor chord, you put your finger on your A7 chord, so it's a 2-finger chord, okay? And you have your A chord. A minor, A7. Put them together, A chord. A minor chord, A7 chord. Put it together, A chord. So those are your 2 new chords from last week, your D minor and your A chord. All right, so now let's go through all of our chords right now. So we have our C chord, we have our A minor chord, we have our F chord, we have our G7 chord, and we have our C7 chord. So those are the chords that we learned the first week, right? Then the second week, I believe that we learned our D7 chord and our A7 chord. 3rd week, we learned our D minor chord that's 9 chords. So somebody wrote me an email asking me, how many more chords do I have to learn? Well, you have to learn a couple more in the beginner section. And today we will be learning, at the end of the lesson, we'll be learning a new chord, which is E7, which is a 3-finger chord. You're not going to like me, and you're not going to like the chord, but that's just the way that it goes. We've done all the easy chords, okay? So now we have a couple of more difficult chords that we're going to have to tackle. Alrighty, so right now what I'd like you to do, and if you need to write this down, then write it down. I want you to do a C chord, an A minor chord. I want you to do a C chord. I want you to do a G7 chord. I want you to do a C chord. I want you to do an F chord. I want you to do a C chord. An A minor chord. Okay, here it comes, the D minor chord. And a G7 chord. So let's, for a second here, let's just do C chord, A minor. Okay, from this A minor, we have to get to a D minor chord. All right, so from the D minor chord to the G7 chord, you can leave that first finger anchored where it was, bring down the other 2 fingers, G7 chord. Okay, so let's do that again. C chord, A minor chord, D minor chord, G7 chord. So let's remember that the D minor chord is like an F with a finger tucked underneath it. So if you're doing C, A minor, D minor, okay? So it really shouldn't be that difficult because you're used to going from C to A minor to F, but you're not going to do an F, you're just going to tuck your finger underneath the F chord and do a D minor chord. And then you're going to leave that first finger anchored there and do your G7 chord. Okay, so C, A minor, D minor, and G7. So the first song that we're going to do today is Dream Lover by Darren. So when we look at the chords, what do we have to do? We have to do a C chord, an A minor chord, a C chord, an A minor chord, a C chord, G7, C, F, C, A minor, just like we just did, G minor, G7, and C. So those are all the chords that we need to do right now. And the only new chord in there really is the D minor, okay? So nice and slow, let's take verse number 1, okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. Every night I hope and pray, dream lover will come my way. Girl to hold in my arms, know the magic of her charms, because I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. Okay, so when we get to that last line there, I wanna dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. So the C chord, A minor, G minor, G7 are all 2-count strum change. Alrighty? So now let's try that first verse using a shuffle. Okay? 5, 6, 7, 8. Every night I hope and pray, dream lover will come my way. Girl to hold that. And then we're going to add verse 1 and verse 2. So you keep practicing verse 1 until you're ready to do verse 1 and verse 2. All right, verse 1, verse 2, shuffling. 5, 6, 7, 8. Every night I hope and pray, dream lover will come my way. Girl to hold in my arms, know the magic of her charms, because I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream of her so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, where are you? With a love that's oh so true, and a hand that I can hold, make me feel as I grow old, because I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream of her, so I don't want to dream alone. All right, so we did verse 1 and verse 2. And yes, you do have to do the knocking. All righty? So now we have what's called the bridge. So what do we have in the bridge? Well, we have an F chord. We have a C chord. We have a D7. And then we have a G7. And there's really nothing, I mean, when you have a D7 chord, you have to take your fingers off to get to your next chord. I can't think of any chord where you can slide or anything. You have to take those fingers off and move it to the G7. Alrighty? So we have an F chord, we have a C chord, we have a D7 chord, and a G7 chord. Those are the chords for the bridge. So now we're going to take the song from the top to the bottom. Alrighty? 5, 6, 7, 8. Every night I hope and pray, dream lover will come my way. Girl to hold in my arms, know the magic of her charms, because I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream of her so string 2 is silent, okay, and 3, 4, okay? So, 'cause I want a girl to call my own. So it's strum 1, 2 is nothing, and 3, 4, okay? But you know, you'll get the hang of that. So we don't do a lot of knocking, but yes, it's knocking in some songs. Okay, so that's Dream Lover. Okay, so the new chord that we have for this week is an E7 chord, 3-finger chord. Finger number 1, top string, 1st fret. Finger number 2, 2nd fret, 2nd from the top string. Finger number 3, bottom string, 2nd fret. That is your E7 chord. So let's do that again. Finger number 1, top string, 1st fret. Finger number 2, 2nd from the top string, 2nd fret. Finger number 3, bottom string, 2nd fret. Okay? So that is your E7 chord. Alrighty? So you're going to have to practice that E7 chord. In video number 2, I'm going to give you some exercises to do along with a new song called Daydream. Alrighty, so that's video number 1. So practice that, okay?